Hey everybody, hope you guys can hear me. Today we're going to talk about whether or not Bitcoin is eating the world. A lot of people are a little bit concerned out there and rattled as usual. So let's get to the bottom of it and see exactly what's going on. And we had a very fun night last night. You can see my eyes are red. You can see I was probably up all night. No, I was up all night. But that's par for the course during these very, very fun times. So let's jump in and talk about whether or not Bitcoin is eating alts, eating the world, where it's all going, and walk through a whole bunch of information. Talk about ETFs, talk about the impact, talk about futures, and everything else. So, as usual, hope you like the content. If you do, hit the like. Thanks all. And disclaimer as well, very important. This is definitely not investment advice. This is pure entertainment. So, with that out of the way, math, money, freedom. Everything I do, everything I share is open and honest based on data. That's it. I don't shill anything. I don't sell anything. I don't line my pockets. I don't pump anything. So I want that to be very clear because some people are concerned. So first of all, let's look at the market right now. Bitcoin, another crazy day, up 4%. I tweeted last night, said we could hit easily 57K last night, and it did this morning. So, and here we are. It's about, let me check the exact price right now. Bitcoin is, make sure we map it out, 57,179. So $100 more than when I put this together a few minutes ago. Ethereum has been strong, but you'll see Shiba Inu, Phantom are also strong, but the rest of the market's down, and that's what we're going to talk about. But before we do that, let's talk about what the world looks like when it's denominated in Bitcoin. Obviously, everything denominated in Bitcoin, you can see that everything pretty much is completely red, bright red. So that means Bitcoin dominance is on the rise, 48% at the time of making this chart. So you can see XRP down hard, Cardano down hard, Doge down hard, Luna down hard, Tezos down hard, Polkadot, Solana, ICP, VeChain, you name it, Chainlink, everything got clobbered with the exception of Phantom and Shiba Inu. Anyway, regarding the Bitcoin denomination, we're going to start doing more of that as well and value things in terms of Bitcoin as we go forward, not dollars anymore. So I want to talk about as well, a lot of people are saying, what's going on with Solana? I get 1,000 questions. Well, first of all, in full disclosure, I bought Solana today. I bought the dip and I continue to layer into it. I continue to be impressed with the project. And again, I'll always be honest with you guys. But when you look at all of the smart contract platforms, they are all getting hit hard, okay? It's not just Solana, everybody. Open your eyes. And I know Shiba Inu is kind of rocketing up the charts, but Terra Luna is down 20% in the last 7 days. Tezos, 19%. Avalanche, 17%. Solana, 14%. Cosmos, 14%. Flow, 14%. Algorand, 12%. Chainlink, 6%. So everybody, please just bear in mind, nothing escapes when Bitcoin is kind of eating the world. And that's kind of the phase we're at right now. And also, quick reminder and full disclosure, my portfolio is 63% Bitcoin as of a few minutes ago, but that doesn't include proxies. Once you layer in all the proxies I own, Square, Tesla, MicroStrategy, PayPal, it's a very different situation. Trust me. So I'm very heavy in Bitcoin and always have been for a reason. Bitcoin is the safest asset. So just want to share that with you as well, in full disclosure. Now let's talk about some business. Back to what has happened over the last 30 days. This is the top 50 performance over the last 30 days. And you can see on the far left, yes, I won't even mention the name anymore, up huge. This is what's happened. And Bitcoin is the 5th or 6th biggest performer. But all the way to the right, you've got all the smart contract platforms getting clobbered and everything else. But the key thing here, and a big thank you to Sanjay as well for sending this to me, love what you do, is the market value of Bitcoin has risen from 40% to 45% among the top 50 cryptos. Okay, so it's that's exactly what's happened. Money has rotated from one way to the other, out of certain assets into Bitcoin. and other cryptos as well. So that's very important to bear in mind. Now let's look at exactly what else is going on. This was super interesting. Over the last 30 days, the whales greater than 1,000 Bitcoin holdings and above are down 60,500 Bitcoins approximately. And the entities with 100 to 1,000 Bitcoins are up 61,500. So basically, the entities 100 Bitcoin plus to 1,000 are gobbling up. So let's do a refresher on what that all means. You guys remember this chart from before, and please drop a comment below where you sit. But here you can see from the previous chart, it is the dolphins and the sharks that are buying up all the Bitcoin right now. That tells me they are either medium-sized institutions or pension funds, but they're definitely not retail investors. You don't just walk out there and buy 100 Bitcoin because it costs a lot of money. So the question is, where do you all guys sit on this food chain? And I do believe there'll come a day, obviously, when even a shrimp with 1 Bitcoin could be worth a millionaire as we go forward. So fascinating times. Now, in addition, let's look at it another way. Here you see all the big buyers moving money, and I tweeted about this today, and this is also from William Clemente. But the Bitcoin transfer volume is about 84% of all transactions are $1 million plus transactions, which is huge. Now, to put that in perspective, to buy $1 million plus of Bitcoin today, that means you're buying at least 17 Bitcoin. And 17 is an octopus. So do we have any octopus there in the audience? I hope so. But again, there'll come a day where even being a shrimp is a big deal. So hodl away, everybody. And don't let the big guys take your crypto. Don't sell. Now, speaking of other fun news, this is Bitcoin is now worth more than the 3 largest corrupt banks. And people say, corrupt banks? What do you mean? Well, JP Morgan have been manipulating metal markets for more than 2 decades. Wells Fargo used to create fake accounts as a huge scandal just to milk customers. And Wells Fargo, well, I think they had managers that were fined for embezzlement and all sorts of other crazy crimes. So these 3 banks is what Bitcoin can fix, and now Bitcoin is bigger than them. But still, there's no changing some people's minds. Anyway, this was a really cool interview as well from Bill Miller, the billionaire value investor. Value investor, note the word value, and founder of the Miller Value Partners. He says Bitcoin is a lot less risky at its current price than gold. And he also said, really interesting, he's a lot more comfortable buying Bitcoin at its current price now than he was buying it at $300. And he said all the big banks are getting involved, and it's only a matter of time before this thing really, really goes up. He also said things like Bitcoin and Ethereum will be around for a lot longer than others, but there's a whole bunch of altcoins out there that could go to zero. So again, digital gold is gone. Also, coincidentally, he did talk about some of the China-based online retailers like Alibaba as a value play, as well as JD.com and Baidu. So like Charlie Munger from Warren Buffett, he likes these China stocks. And in full disclosure, I own Baba and Baidu as well. So interesting perspective from him. Now let's look at some on-chain volume at an all-time high. This is extremely bullish. This is the amount of Bitcoin adjusted on-chain transactions that are happening. And again, maybe in part is due to some of the big money coming in and also all the stuff happening in El Salvador. But again, extremely bullish sign too. So let's talk about some futures and options contracts. Basically, the premium here you can see on futures is up about 12.5% or 12.2%, something like that. What this means basically is it's cheaper to buy spot and sell a future, and you can make money that way. You can capture yield without any directional exposure. And this is one of those things that's going to happen. But when you have futures being more expensive than spot, typically that's also a bullish sign. But wait, there is something else going on. So let's talk a little bit about history. Now, a lot of people have been concerned about this, a lot of talk about the Bitcoin ETF and what happens when it launches, and would it be like what happened in the past when the CME listed Bitcoin futures? Everybody thought we were going to the moon, but no. That December 18th day, 2017, actually indicated the top of the Bitcoin market. And from there we fell and altcoins exploded upwards. The question is, could this happen again? We're not sure, but we'll analyze very carefully. I think it's a very different scenario, and I think it was just timing in that situation. But then again, you never know. There could be a little bit of what they call the buy the rumor, sell the news. And this is a quote from Dan Moorhead, CEO of asset manager Pantera Capital. He warned that buy the rumor, sell the news pattern may apply if the SEC approves a Bitcoin-backed futures ETF in October. And his concern is, well, maybe be worth taking a little bit off the table or hedging your risk. You never know. I don't want to alarm anybody, but it's very important to understand exactly what could happen. This could, after the move we've had from 40,000, 39,000 up to now we have 57,000 in a matter of weeks. That's a very, very big move. So it might take a little bit of a rest. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. But just want to make you guys aware. Now we look at something that backs up that kind of data. I pulled this chart out. This is the CME futures by trader category, which is one I look at, but I've never seen it have such a diverse shape and spike right now in a few months. Now, this basically means it looks like the hedge funds are shorting Bitcoin hard, and other people, I don't know what other is in a category, but they're not hedge funds, they're going long. So there's a huge bifurcation here between the longs and the shorts. And there might be people like Michael Burry. It's like, oh, Bitcoin's gone from 39 to 47 or 57. Time for me to jump in and short. And he might be one of those players going in because he's tried to do it before. He's done it in the past. He's long-term bullish, I think, on Bitcoin, but a little bit bearish. But he likes to short things like Tesla too, and he got hurt there a little bit. So we'll see. We'll talk about him in a second. Now, a little bit about NFTs. And here there is an FTX launch NFT market on the Solana platform. But what's really cool about this is it's so easy to use and it's tied into your FTX account. I played with it. I tried it. I've used OpenSea and other platforms in the past, but I was blown away by how good this was. But I'm not shilling or pushing anything. But what is really interesting is they will be taking some of the ETH market share going forward for sure. Now, this is a cool story as well. And for those of you who are lending out assets as collateral on a loan, be very careful. This is a story we should all be aware of when we put assets on the line. So this was somebody who put up an NFT to take out a loan 3 months ago. And the NFT collector borrowed 3.5 ETH, which is currently it's about $12,000, $12,500 worth on the NFTi platform, NFTFi. So it's like a DeFi, but NFT financial platform to make the loan, which was cool. Like before I read this article, I didn't even know that there was an NFT DeFi platform out there. But they put up an elevated deconstructions NFT and part of some curated set that became very, very popular. We all know what's happened to like apes and stuff like that. But over the time span, over the last 12 weeks, the value of these NFTs shot up. And it was a lot of weird things. I've been asked to push some NFTs on my Twitter account. I refuse to do that because I don't shill stuff. But there is a guy called Punk6529, and he's a Twitter account of some CryptoPunk, and they've been pushing and pumping these CryptoPunks. But now, the interesting thing is, now the value of this particular item is up to 200 ETH, which is about $720,000. And yesterday, the 3.5 ETH loan ended because the borrower had not repaid the loan during those 3 months. And as a result, the collateral was passed to the lender. So that's a nice win for the lender, but be careful. If you do put something on the line, make sure you can back it up and make sure you remember to pay off your loan or else you lose all your assets. So not only did this investor lose their 3.5 ETH, but they lost an asset worth $720,000 that they bought for nothing. So interesting story. Anyway, all about risk and managing your risk and being careful when you invest. Always very, very important. Speaking of investors, Big Short, Michael Burry, slams Shiba Inu. This looks like we can't get away from the Shiba Inu headlines, but he criticizes Shiba Inu after it went up. It's now over 300%. And per his words, he was saying something like, a quadrillion seconds is about 32 million years, and 1 quadrillion days is about 2.7 trillion years, or all of time, from the beginning of the universe multiplied by 71,000. So he obviously knows his numbers. He's a really cool guy. In other words, it's completely pointless. It's funny because one of the models we built, if something has a quadrillion, it gets dinged, a quadrillion tokens. Anyhow, this is Michael Burry. He went short Tesla twice this year. It hit $801 briefly today, so he's probably not doing too well there. And maybe he's one of the guys shorting Bitcoin as well, one of those hedge funds. So, but remember, even a broken clock is correct twice a day. So Michael Burry, he will have his day where he'll be right. But in the meantime, he might lose a lot of money. So again, manage your risk carefully, everybody. Speaking of investors who will never get it, JP's Jamie Dimon, Bitcoin is worthless, but we will deal in it. Yes, they will deal in anything they can manipulate. Good on you, Jamie. So some people never come around. And some politicians get it. Some people want freedom and people want Texas. A lot of people are moving to Texas. They love Texas. Ted Cruz believes Texas abundant energy will be great for the state and a great opportunity for employment and Bitcoin and everything else. And he believes Texas may get to the point where it can use Bitcoin to offset vast amounts of the energy that the state currently wastes. They have flare gas going into the atmosphere and everything all the time. So good on you, Texas. So with that, my final news, turning into a car channel. Only kidding. But this is pretty incredible. So I'll zoom out for a second. When I first came to the US, I used to always drive by these used car lots, and they had the crappiest cars in them, and they were always full, and I wondered, did they ever sell any cars? But now in the US, if you drive by a used car lot, there are no cars in the lots. All the cars are empty. So whoever's been a used car dealer over the past 12 months, they have made a killing and made a fortune. But this is an interesting stat here, just to share with you all. It's the wholesale used car price. It's increased 5.3% just over the last month, and it's up 27.1% from a year ago. This is the Mannheim Used Vehicle Index. So again, inflation, it's only transitory. It's not real. But used car prices have gone up 30% in a year, which is ridiculous. You can't get a car, and now you can't even get a new car if you wanted. So it's a crazy world, and I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. So hope you like the content. Let's switch out and do a little bit of Q&A as it's Monday. And hope everybody's doing fantastic. And let's see if... Yes, haha. I have some. Thank you, K8, for sending me all the questions, so we never ever miss a question. Le Bossy. Oh no, it's one of these questions. 27 Sol, 1 ETH, 2,000 Mac. With 10k in hand, how do you think the split would be after knowing? Also thoughts on Rivian. Rivian is not a... Why is that graphic showing up? No idea. Anyhow, Rivian is nothing like Tesla, so I wouldn't even touch it, and I've dug into it. In terms of your bag, when I see all these numbers, I have to calculate them all in my head based on current prices and try estimate. Again, I bought Sol today. That's all I can say. I am way above 65% Bitcoin, and that's how I do it. But I am in the business of making returns and not losing money. Don't like to lose money ever. And I like asymmetric bets, and that's why I pick the ones that I do. So hope that helps. But I do like Matic, I do like Bitcoin, I do like ETH, and I do like Sol. So at least you have the right horses in the stable. Caligula at Jeeves' no internet in his brand new first castle. Congratulations on the new house, Jeeves. but that's one of the funnest things, because when you've got no internet, that means you've got time to unpack and not watch silly people on the internet. So what's up with Celsius and Tether? If Tether implodes, maybe Celsius too. No, it's not a problem for Celsius, because the other way. It's not like the commercial paper that Tether holds is bad. The collateral with Celsius is different, so it's not a problem, not a concern. If it was, I would have alerted you all. So not a problem, but great question though. It's always good to be aware of exactly where risks lie. JRAM, woke up this morning and all my Google 2FA codes were gone. No one uses my phone or apps. How can I recover? I can trade without those codes. Also, my surgery well, glad your surgery went well, buddy. No idea how your 2FA codes were gone. Just be very, very paranoid. Be very careful with your computer. Have a dedicated machine just for trading. Don't use 2FA. Use a YubiKey in the back of it. Make sure you touch it, and that way nobody can mess with your stuff. But some weird stuff is happening. Like people get a lot of emails saying, "Oh, you need to reset your password," and like I don't answer my phone anymore. It's just full of voicemail from people saying, "Warning, this is the Social Security Administration. If you do not call us immediately," like all this garbage. But those types of things trick people a lot. So glad your surgery went well. Get a YubiKey, JRAM. Very important. Don't use 2FA. MS. Hope to retire in 10 years. 401k, mostly mutual funds. Should I sell cash, and which equities to buy in the next dip? Approximate proportions. That's a very, very tough question. All I can say is I'm very, very, very heavy in crypto right now. And if I am in equities, they are crypto proxies, Bitcoin proxies. So that's the way I'm doing it. But I believe in where all this market is going, and I'm in hard. But the names that I do like, very big in MicroStrategy, Google, Tesla, Trade Desk, Shopify, Square, they're all the top stocks that I like. And they're all my biggest positions as well. So I hope that helps. But be careful out there. Stock market is still very toppy. But I think I still think there's so much money on the sidelines. So the future is still bright for the stock market. But nothing like what Bitcoin is going to do. Not financial advice, of course. AG, why is Link so weak against ETH value? That's been confusing me for ages. Chainlink should be at $45-50. And how it's so low, I don't know, and I can't figure out. The tokenomics are not exactly perfect. There might be a little bit of price suppression by dumping on the market. But even when Ethereum went on its huge run, like from 2,400 up to 3,600, it should have run too. I mean, it's gone up 35% just in the last 2 weeks. But Chainlink is just weak, but I still hold it. I'm waiting. These things eventually pounce. You just have to be patient. Like Polkadot started moving a week or so ago. Chainlink will move, I believe, and Matic will move. My positions are very small, but I believe they will do good in the future. MS, any tips, resources on how to learn to place calls and synthetic longs from MicroStrategy and CleanSpark, etc.? Would love to learn. Yeah, those trades I've done over the last couple of weeks have just been incredible. But I've done about 20 of them this year that have been very good. I'm actually going to do a video, another one on that, with the retire and equities portfolio, and show you guys the results and the methodology about how I got into the positions and what I did and how I chose the strikes and the terms to expiration. And we'll see. But both of them are up way over 400% in 2 weeks. So I will cover that in a video. A lot of people are asking for that. Pronounce it Pro. Thoughts on Ohmcoin? Ohmcoin. I have looked at it. It rings a bell, and I know it's in the compendium. But I know it's not good because I didn't buy it. Hold on a second. Gotta pull this up. Yeah. Yeah. If it's Ohm as in Olympus, I thought it was bigger than that. This is ranked number 3,000. And it has a very big lack of information. So anything where I don't have a lot of information, a lot of data, I don't look at, because if they don't publish all their data, it means they're hiding the ball, which means I don't trust them. And then I don't touch them. So Ohm, I wouldn't touch. And I'm extremely strict about what I invest in crypto, because I know 95 to 99% of it is absolute garbage. So be careful of that. John 47. Aside from Bitcoin and ETH, what are your top 3 cryptos you see having the greatest increase in 2 years? And where do you see them getting to in that time? So the problem, one of the reasons I'm so big on Bitcoin, because it's so predictable. You know where it's going with a great degree of certainty. When you start looking at other assets, Ethereum is kind of number 2, but even that has so much uncertainty around it. ETH 2.0, sharding, staking, scalability, fees, gas fee, all this stuff is like up in the air. But it doesn't have regulatory risk, which is a positive. Then you have next in line would be something like a Solana or an Avalanche or an Elrond. All of these names also have a lot of risk, and they're all kind of have their bugs. You know, Solana had their outage because of a problem. It shows it is vulnerable. But then again, even taking into account that risk, what I like is the adoption and the growth rate and the number of dApps. And that's just explosive. And the speed at which they do things and the speed at which it's easy to build on it is what makes it very powerful. And I have a lot of experience in software. And basically, it's all about adoption and network effect. And the easier it is to adopt something, get it up and running, and use it and configure it, code it, build on it, the better it'll go. So that's why I like Solana would be my next one, my next biggest bag. I like Aave, I like Uniswap, and I like Chainlink. I like Polkadot, I like Matic. They're kind of the round out of the top three, but I'm trying to get my Solana position up to be at least somewhat close to Ethereum, and that'll never happen, but I can continue to try. So where's my crypto? I haven't seen published beta stats in the crypto world. If these published stats don't exist, then why? I don't know what beta stats are. Is that for beta testing? I am not sure what that is. So I am not in a position to answer that question, I'm afraid. Beta stats. There's a lot of things that aren't fully visible in the crypto world, but there are a lot of protocols and chains that have a lot of stuff out there. So I'll check that out after. Thomas, could you go into a bit more depth why you don't like Terra and Phantom? And what are the exact cases you found? That's a tough, long question. Terra is tokenomics based, and Phantom was the fact that it wasn't widely adopted at the time when we crunched all the numbers for all the SCPs. So let me actually pull that up because I need to refresh my mind. And Phantom has changed a lot recently as well. Phantom has gotten a lot better, but one of the key issues, Phantom, very low on the active validator score, very low on the number of dApps, very low on dApp transaction volume, etc., etc. Where they are crushing it is TVL. It's off the charts, and a couple of other metrics we look at. So that's why Phantom is good. The other one, well, it's not good. Luna, Terra. Terra came out right bang in the middle of the top 20 smart contract platforms, but they had a better compendium score, which was in the bottom 50 percentile, believe it or not, than their smart contract compatibility score, which didn't do well at all. And same type of reasons. And that's why I don't like it. Now, I know there's a big play for Terra with stable coins and even adoption by some governments. So if that happens, so be it. But again, I think there are better places to place money. And that's why I don't like those two. Thomas, thanks for the question. Any thoughts on Chia? I don't know. Let me have a look. When things have funny names. Although I eat chia seeds every day. And no thoughts on Chia Network, I'm afraid. Let's see how big it is. It is not in the compendium. Chia Network. Haha. Must have just gone up to rank number 257. Must have been outside the top 300 a while ago. But, total supply, circulating supply. Again, I don't know anything about Chia, I'm afraid. And let me see. Chia.net. It doesn't even say what it is, what type of technology. So, again, why dabble in risky stuff, everybody? Just, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your money. It's just, especially at this stage in the market, to play with this stuff. We've already seen the movement out of altcoins into things like Bitcoin. There will be an altcoin season, but just be very careful where you have your money. Anthony, 6.5 Bitcoin, 25 ETH, 500 Link, 40 Sol. Just keep DCing into Sol, looking to be retired in 2030. Well, you are well on your way, sir. Anthony, make sure your identity is hidden and you lock your stuff down. That's a lot of Bitcoin. You are, what I'd like to do is I like your positions, but you could do with another position considering the size of your overall bag. Like I believe in holding 10. You only have 5, 4. So layer in some other stuff and then practice getting in and out of them after they move and run. And I personally, the only thing I bought this week is Solana, and I bought it 3 times. So I'm still buying that even though my original cost basis is $20. And I keep analyzing all the numbers and it keeps coming up on top. Aaron Sexton, 32% Bitcoin. All these questions. Why do these questions come up all the time? 55% ETH, 7% Sol, 5% other. Would you trade some ETH to have? Yes, I would. Definitely would. There's too much uncertainty regarding Ethereum. I have a big position in Ethereum. I wish I could get out, but I can't for tax reasons, so I'm holding until at least it hits my target, which is 8,900. Then I'll probably, depending on ETH 2.0, like it was so bullish there last week and the week before with great movements, and then all of a sudden they're talking about ETH 2.0 delays and the difficulty bomb, etc. So we'll see, but we're monitoring it very carefully, and as soon as we know more, we'll let you know. We are definitely too heavy in Ethereum. Although if Raoul Pal is correct and it goes to 40,000, you look like a genius. I hope that helps, Aaron. And Rebecca, according to Efficient Frontier, we should sell high standard deviation coins first. Makes sense, correct? Yes, that is correct. But historically, altcoins peak 1 to 3 weeks after the Bitcoin peak. This is different. What happened in 2017 isn't going to happen again. Most probably will not, because when people know the history, they trade around it and prepare for it. So a lot of people I'd heard today on YouTube saying, altcoin season is going to be crazy, everything's going to explode, but just, we'll see. I mean, the type of money that flows into Bitcoin and Solana and Ethereum is very different to the money that goes into these altcoins. So bear that in mind too. And the size of the market is way bigger than 2017, so it's going to take a lot more money to move it as well. Remember, the market cap in 2017 was tiny compared to today. So it's a different situation. Part 2, nearing the end of the bull market, and sell altcoins. First, Efficient Frontier. Efficient Frontier is just an indicator. You can look at your Efficient Frontier based on different time frames, 3 months, 9 months, 6 months, 1 year, 18 months. So it all depends on what you're doing. And it all depends on how far things are run as well. You can't just trade based on Efficient Frontier. You got to look at everything: macro, competitive, tokenomics, release schedules. There's 100 things you need to analyze. And please, everybody, same thing with just TA. You can't trade or invest on one dimension. You need to look at all 8 things at once and be very, very careful and very scientific. Crypto Poppy, do you think there will be a dip after hitting an all-time high? Do you think Sol.Ethereum will have big retracement as money rotates from alts? I've been thinking a lot about this, and this is a good question. So there's 2 things that are going to happen. This is going to sound like a really vague answer. So there is money, I know for a fact, big money on the sidelines. They're waiting for 65,000 before they get into the Bitcoin market. They're waiting for an all-time high because they know once it hits an all-time high, it's fresh air above and it'll just go straight up. The second rule of thumb is those people, the retail investors that are waiting for an all-time high to take money off the table and sell at 65K, or they're fearful that if the Bitcoin ETF is approved, it'll come down like the CME story I told from 2017. Either one of those could happen, but it all is a function of money flow. Now I see the very bullish sign that I see is looking at on-chain metrics. The whales and the 500 plus holders of Bitcoin, they are buying now again. They're buying at 5-month highs. They weren't buying as aggressively a month or 2 ago. And that's an extremely bullish sign. So they know something's up. So the question is, how much big money is still going to come in? And I think a lot. Everything I see, everything I read, everything I hear, there are billions of this on the sidelines that are just going to come in. And it's not from retail people. So that could change the whole game. So at 65K, once we hit that, I think it could go straight to 75. And I talk about the 10K candle in 3 hours. I think that's possible. K Bingo, I have lots of MicroStrategy and tax-free wrapper. Should I sacrifice the tax wrapper for Bitcoin as pure form? No, not at all. So MicroStrategy is 93% Bitcoin. It's and they're a lot more agile than Bitcoin. I have a very large position in MicroStrategy myself. I'm holding, so no need to incur the tax or make those sacrifices. Just hold tight. And if you're in tax-free account as well, you get the ability to sell out and buy back in cheap as well if it's a big top or blow off top. Billy McAlpin, Bitcoin dominance keeps going up. Should we move the majority over 60% from altcoins? Also, AMP, IOS predictions. I don't know IOST. I do know AMP. Let's do that first. And hopefully it was clear from the presentation that AMP. AMP is a terrible score in the compendium. Wouldn't touch it. That was an easy one. It was in the bottom 45 percentile. Let me see. In terms of Bitcoin dominance, no, what happens if you look at the swing cycle between, and I hope this was clear, Bitcoin goes from, I think the low was like 38% dominance to now we're at 48%. It's probably going to swing back. Everything happens in cycles. So just imagine left to right, left to right. There's so much value in some of the other cryptos right now that the old days of Bitcoin dominance, I think, are gone because you got huge heavy hitters like Ethereum and Solana and Avalanche and Algorand and Polkadot, all these huge big players that are coming in hard, and they have real value propositions. They didn't really have those as much in 2017. So from that perspective, I think it's too late to switch out and get into Bitcoin. I think it's already run. It'll continue to run, but there's going to be, the alts are going to start running again now. You're going to see money coming in and buying them all up real fast, I believe. Dave B, 60% Bitcoin, 3 MicroStrategy calls, too heavy on Bitcoin. If that's all you got, yes, you are. You're all in on Bitcoin. You could be fine because if you look at me, I'm very similar. I am actually very, very similar. So my MicroStrategy positions are on top of my Bitcoin position is very large. So, but yeah, you need more stuff in your bag for sure. Amit Dewan, how will stagflation affect Bitcoin? That's a hard question. Stagflation is nasty. Nobody ever wants bad economic growth and unemployment. It's the kiss of death for any economy. And when that happens, there's no money. So basically, all markets will fall. Stock markets, crypto markets, and everything else. I wish I had good news to tell you, but that's it. Now, if stagflation gets really bad and economies turn to crap and people are looking for safe haven assets, especially those with money, maybe Bitcoins could survive. Fly on Albatross. FX Street put out an article today. It said Matic is going to $300. Do you think it's even possible? Well, I'm glad somebody's writing something bullish about Matic. It's not me just saying, oh. So our quant models place Polygon Matic as the third most valuable smart contract platform of the top 20 smart contract platforms. Absolutely insane. And the growth is even more insane. But $300, no, that would not be possible. Just looking at that, actually, give me a second. Like $300 based on their circulation, that would be no. Fully due market of 12 billion. No, that'd be completely ridiculous. But then again, they are building stuff to become quasi ETH killers. If they were able to sink the knife into ETH's heart, but they piggyback off ETH that's made them successful in the first place, I don't see that happening. But my target for Matic is about 298, and I may up that if I see more adoption. But FX Street, I would check that out. Jilly 6868. Oh, by the way, I get crazy predictions that people say about all these things, and I'm very conservative in my models. And if they do go beyond my models, it means they are absolutely overvalued. Jilly 6868. I have 1700 GBTC, as most of my money is retirement accounts. Would an ETF be better, or take a tax hit and get BTC? I think you should wait and see what happens with the ETF. Give it till January next year, Once the futures ETF is launched, they'll come out with the spot ETF, and then if that happens, Grayscale should get license with the top 3 players because they have 650,000 Bitcoin on hand. So I just hold tight for now. No need to take the tax hit, and if it does convert into an ETF, hold tight until a real top market. Maybe then get out. But I think you're fine for now. And I also hold GBTC in a retirement account. Alex, question regarding ISO 20022 is a project to revamp antiquated banking systems. Talks about XRP, XLM, XDC, etc. Can you do a deep dive? There's a lot of things happening. This is a very interesting because I think about this a lot as well. The antiquated banking system. I'm a financial services guy. I know exactly how bad it is and all the problems I have. I don't think they can take this turd and fix it. There's too much legacy. It's like an ICE car maker, an internal combustion engine, petrol engine, gasoline engine, whatever you want to call it, car maker. They can't pivot to being EV makers like Tesla. You got to start from the ground up. And I think my theory, and this might be very harebrained, so please take it with a huge grain of salt, the future of banking will come from outside. It'll be blockchain technology driven. All the legacy banks are like zombies, and unless they really invest hard and revamp themselves from scratch with no legacy, they're toast. Just look at what's happening with DeFi and adoption at zero cost. So the infrastructure costs that these banks have, the real estate, the ATM infrastructure, the legacy computers, the coders, the IT departments, the front desk people, it's untenable. It can't fly, in my opinion. There's just too much change happening. So, great question, Alex. I will dig into that for sure because it personally fascinates me. Ryan Promer, congratulations landing Sailor interview. Are you planning to do a quick fire format? He loves to go off script. Ryan, yes, we'll make something good. It'll be unique and original, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. And it's so funny because my second and third videos ever on YouTube were all about MicroStrategy arbitration trades. That's it. That's my first video was convince people to buy Bitcoin, and my second and third videos are MicroStrategy videos. So go back. I just saw part 2. It's only 9 minutes long. I might relaunch it because everything I said in there is valid, including my Bitcoin price prediction for $100,000 in December of 2021. So if that all happens, and I did that in the year 2020, it'll be super interesting. But thank you, Ryan. And Rick, what are good platforms to stake or earn off BTC, ETH, Sol, and are there good self-custody options? I don't do self-custody, but I am doing things like staking on Exodus wallet with Solana, just for giggles. A little piece. I have a Celsius account, and I have a Voyager account. I actually moved a whole bunch of Chainlink and Polkadot from Coinbase over to Voyager to get yield on it. So that's kind of what I do, but it's just funny when you see things grow like that. So that's kind of how I do it. I know there's a lot of good options on Kraken. You can do a lot more with Coinbase. Coinbase have a new wallet tool where you can stake, and I'm going to dig into that too. So there's so many options out there, but really focus on the reputable exchanges and safety, because if you start playing in the Wild West, you could lose your precious crypto. That's why you should only put a little piece of it out there, the pieces you can afford to lose. So remember, don't get too excited about 6% yield when you're risking your crown jewels. Hope that helps, Rick. Ceci D, sell Sol at the top and re-enter in the bear. Is DOT still worth holding? I like Polkadot. Yes, I think Polkadot's going to $100 for sure. We saw a huge move from $20 to $36 over the last couple of weeks. In terms of Solana, if Solana is the ETH killer, it has a long way to go. And if you look at the adoption, the number of dApps that are being built right now, and the growth in TVL and what they're doing with the integration with FTX and NFTs, that may not even have a bear market. And there is that theory as well, not just from me, but from people like Willy Woo and others are piling on, that there may be no bear market in the future. Things might just continue to go up. Yes, there'll be volatility, but don't expect those 85% retracements. They're not going to happen, especially with protocols that have extreme value. So again, there's a lot more smart money in there, a lot more hedging tools there. I think things will be more stable, just a gradual incline. And even if you look at the action happening on Bitcoin, you can tell it's every dip. And I've been saying this for weeks now. Every single dip on Bitcoin is being bought up fast, real fast. So we'll see. So Ceci, hope that helps. SK, in your miner analysis video recently, you said you were missing info for Bitfarms. What was that info you were missing? And I can try to find it for you. Thank you, SK. Nobody's ever asked me a question and said, I want to find something. My problem is for their deployment of new rigs that they're going to get planned for 2022, I don't know how many rigs and how much Bitcoin they will produce in 22, 23, and how much they'll keep on the balance sheet. If you can answer that, that'd be incredible. Ryan Watson, oh, by the way, great feedback on that video too. And CleanSpark has done very, very well too in the last 12 days. Congrats to anybody who got it. Ryan Watson, is it possible that by the end of November, Bitcoin could be around 80K and the altcoins could be worth less than they are now? Well, this is, I don't want to upset people that own a whole bunch of altcoins, but the fact of the matter is 95% of them are going to zero one way or the other over the next 4 years. The question is which ones? Like, I don't agree with Michael Burry a lot, but what he spoke about, like things like Shiba Inu and Doge having such huge market caps, it's just manipulation. There's no value behind these things. And then you've got people who buy things at real value and they don't move up as fast as Shiba Inu, and then they get disappointed. So it's like they call it the big Esh coin casino, and people love to play and people love to gamble. Your question is extremely poignant and valid, Ryan, because I do believe Bitcoin could definitely be 75,000 in November. But the question is what will happen with dominance. And I see this big bifurcation now because crypto investors are getting smarter. They're getting better. They're doing their homework. They're doing their due diligence. And they're identifying where the real value is. And they're going to shy away from the crappy ones, as I've been preaching for a long time. Look at the risk spectrum. Get off of the garbage as quickly as you can and move to safer assets. Bitcoin is the safest. And that's it. But when the investors out there that still think it's a casino and they still think, oh, I'm going to get 100x, or Shiba Inu is going to go to $1, stuff like that, it's like my brain just gets sore. So it's hard to say. I see three worlds. There's going to be the pristine asset world, which is all Bitcoin. There's going to be your SCPs that run DeFi, which is a $400 trillion addressable market. And that's Ethereum, that's Solana, that's Avalanche, that's Elrond, that's all these names, Matic, etc. They're all going to have a piece of that. And then you're going to have the rest of the world, which will include some use cases that are very valid, like storage, AI, NFT marketplaces. But even those are all kind of be morphed into the smart contract platforms. So that they're and then the last world would be all the garbage. And it'll stay in the garbage pile and it'll never go anywhere. Or when there's 100 companies doing the same thing, only 2 will ever survive. In the history of the world, it's always the same case. Like how many big, retailers are there on Earth, etc. So how many big search engine companies are there on Earth? It's all pretty obvious. The same thing will happen in the crypto world. The question is, be on the right train at the right time. A big thank you for donation as well. Capono MT, Playing with Pestles, Fast Timmy, Isaiah, Steve Guernsey, Copono, Global Party People with great music, Dragonfire, Luna, MotoJB, Captain 89, Abraxas 2020, Exciting World Cryptos, Evan Ahern, Arcadio Ping Gods 80 GD, that's a tough name, Trish Hill, Nick Sess, GT350, American Realist and Schoolby. Good night all. Your questions are really good and I appreciate them all and I hope they're helpful to everybody. And again, be careful of risk out there. It's a very dangerous world. See you all tomorrow. Bye.